And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday on Spreaker Radio, Roar, 1776 Radio, and MyCast Live Radio from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Also on 405 Media Radio every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time, in addition to countless terrestrial stations worldwide. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. And you can call me directly into the studio at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Now, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. My first contributor today is Sean Lefebvre, continuing his ongoing series, Geared for Wellness. And my special guest is Edric Guys. He's the partner at Vireo Energy Services and National Energy Solutions. He's going to be talking about Citizens Climate Lobby. Yeah, he's going to be talking about that carbon footprint that's so very important to everybody here in the United States of America. Matter of fact, in the world, I should say. But first off, what I want to talk about is the news. But stand by. I want you to first know that at 3:02 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 77 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, what I want to do is I want to talk to you about the 10 things that you need to know for today, Tuesday, that everybody's going to be talking about today and tomorrow. Your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that will be talked about today. And we've encapsulated this just a little bit so you just get a little taste of what's going on. And then we'll go back and we'll do some more in-depth stuff. First off, South Carolina overwhelmed by floods. Dams overflowed, bridges collapsed, and hundreds of roads were inundated as authorities evacuated homes. And search intensifies for survivors after the United States cargo ship sinks near the Bahamas. Only one unidentified body in a survival suit was spotted after engine failure left the ship adrift in the middle of a dangerous storm. And Oregon gunman had complained about not having a girlfriend. Well, in a rambling manifesto, Christopher Harper Mercer also insisted he was mentally sane and others around him were crazy. I wonder what that means. And what new trade deal means for Washington. Having hammered out the agreement with 11 Pacific Rim countries, the Obama administration now faces a potentially tougher task, selling it to a skeptical Congress. And new explanation is offered for hospital bombing in Afghanistan. Oh boy. The top commander of coalition forces says the Afghans requested the U.S. airstrike, correcting an initial statement that it had been because U.S. forces were threatened. So here we go again, not knowing what the truth is. When is that ever going to happen that we know what the truth is? Well, why tensions are rising between Russia and NATO. A Russian warplane linked to airstrikes in Syria entered airspace above Turkey, prompting the alliance to denounce the irresponsible behavior. Well, we haven't heard the end of that yet. And Israeli leader vows action after a wave of violence. Benjamin Netanyahu sends thousands of soldiers to the West Bank and Jerusalem and lifts restrictions on what security forces can actually do. You know what that means? He lifted the restrictions, so there isn't anything they can't actually do. Well, who won the Nobel Prize in Medicine? Chinese expert 2UU, Chinese microbiologist Satoshi Omura and Irish-American William Campbell were rewarded for creating pioneering drugs against malaria and other devastating tropical diseases. Well, new cause for concern for cardiac patients. Doctors have discovered a potential problem involving implanted heart valves. They don't always open and close properly, possibly because a blood clot has formed that could raise the risk of a stroke. You'd think that they would know that before they put those artificial valves in, wouldn't you? You know, I keep joking around. I joke around a lot about doctors don't get it right because they're still practicing, right? When are they going to get it right the first time out of the box? Well, here's the last encapsulated item in the news today. CC Sabathia admits he suffers from alcoholism. The Yankees pitcher is checking into a rehab center and will miss the postseason. Go figure. That's is there ever any good news in the news? I'm beginning to wonder if we get any good news anymore. It seems to be just very far and in between. Well, let's talk about a little more in-depth stuff here today. Let's go back to South Carolina. They clean up, but worries remain amid floods. The family of Miss South Carolina in 1954 found her flood-soaked pageant scrapbook on a dining room floor littered with dead fish on today, as the first sunny day in nearly 2 weeks provided a chance to clean up from historic floods. I would hate for her to see it like this. She would be crushed, said Polly Sim, who moved her 80-year-old mother into a nursing home just before the rainstorm turned much of the state into a disaster area. Owners of inundated homes were keeping close watch on swollen waterways as they pried open swollen doors and tore out soaked carpets. So far, at least 17 people have died in the floods in the Carolinas, some of them drowning after trying to drive through high water. Sim's mother, known as Polly Rankin Suber, when she competed in the Miss America contest, had lived since 1972 in the unit, where more than 3 feet of muddy water toppled her washing machine and turned the washboard or the wallboard to mush. There's no way it'll be what it was, said Sim. My mom was so eccentric, had her own funky style of decorating. There's no way anyone could duplicate that. Never. Well, today was the first dry day since September the 24th in South Carolina's state capital, where a midnight to 6 a.m. curfew was in effect, but officials warned that new evacuations could come as the huge mass of water flows toward the sea, threatening dams and displacing residents along the way. A particular concern was the low country, where the Santee, Edisto, and other rivers make their way to the sea. Governor Nikki Haley warned that several rivers were rising and had yet to reach their peaks. We haven't seen the end of the travesty and the horrible things that are going to happen in the South. I have a feeling that my guest today is going to have something to say about that and what he's going to say, and have something to say about global warming as well. Edric Cruz, or Guys, I should say, is going to probably really be up on this kind of stuff. We'll see how far we can get into it. Well, when we come back from this commercial message, I want to get some more in-depth on that cargo ship. The search for answers begins in the sinking of a U.S. cargo ship. We can't just let that happen without doing some checking. So we'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Well, I said we were going to talk about it, so let's do it. The search for answers begins in the sinking of a U.S. cargo ship. On board the 790-foot El Faro, when it set out on its doomed voyage into the path of Hurricane Joaquin, were 5 Polish workers whose job was to prepare the engine room for a retrofitting. Could that work have caused the loss of power that led to the U.S. container ship sinking? The vessel's owners say that they don't believe so, but the question, along with the captain's decision to plot a course near the storm, will almost certainly be part of an investigation launched today by the National Transportation Safety Board into the disaster near the Bahamas that may have claimed 33 lives. We don't have all the answers. I'm sorry for that. I wish we did, Anthony Ciarello, president of and CEO with ship owner Tote Incorporated, told reporters. But we will find out what happened. The 41-year-old El Faro was scheduled to be retired from Caribbean duty and retrofitted in the coming months for service between the west coast of Alaska, said Phil Green, another Tote executive. The El Faro and its equally aged sister vessel were being replaced on the Jacksonville to Puerto Rico run by 2 brand new ships capable of carrying much more cargo and emitting less pollution. When the El Faro left Jacksonville on September the 22nd, the 5 Polish workers came along with 28 U.S. crew members to do some preparatory work in the engine room, according to Green. He gave no details on the nature of their work, but I don't believe, based on the work they were doing, that they would have had anything to do with the effect what affected the propulsion, said Green, and retired Navy Admiral. The NTSB dispatched a team from Washington to investigate. It's just a tragic situation, NTSB Vice Chairman Bill Azinzar said. Well, we're going to find out how tragic it was. You know, it seems to me like every time a plane goes down, it's pilot's error, right? Well, I wonder if this is going to be captain's error. We will find out. There's no question about that. Well, a top general recommends keeping more U.S. troops in Afghanistan. The top U.S. commander in Afghanistan recommended today that President Barack Obama revise his plan and keep more than 1,000 U.S. troops in the country beyond 2016, just days after a deadly U.S. strike mistakenly struck a hospital during fierce fighting in the north. General John Campbell told Congress that conditions on the ground have changed since Obama announced his plan in 2014 to cut the current U.S. force of 9,800 to an embassy-based security contingent of about 1,000 in Kabul post-2016. Obama has vowed to a war-weary nation to end the U.S. war in Afghanistan and get American troops out by the time he leaves office in January of 2017. Campbell said, however, that Afghanistan remains engaged in a violent battle against the Taliban. Military operations in Pakistan have pushed fighters, including those linked to al-Qaeda, into eastern and northern Afghanistan, and the emergence of Islamic State fighters has further complicated the conflict. Campbell, the top commander of U.S. and allied forces in Afghanistan, said the dropping to 1,000 troops would leave the United States with limited ability to train and assist the Afghan forces and even less capacity to conduct counterterrorism or operations. He said the different options that he has provided to his superiors are for troop levels beyond a normal embassy presence of about 1,000. Campbell refused to discuss the numbers of troops he is recommending, but when Senator Angus King, the independent from Maine, asked Campbell if he thought the president would revise his troop withdrawal plan, Campbell replied, "I will stomp my foot. Yes, sir." Well, let's see what happens. I've heard late today, just before we went on the air, that Obama was seriously considering leaving substantially more troops. So we'll see what happens with that. And an Oregon shooter's mother wrote about guns in an online forum. The mother of the Oregon gunman who killed 9 in a college classroom apparently wrote about her love of guns in an online forum, referring to places that attempt to pass firearms legislation as lame states. Laurel Harper posted her thoughts on Yahoo, Answers, a site that allows people to ask and answer questions about any topic. The Associated Press didn't speak with Harper about the postings, but in them she offered an email address that is linked to her. Harper wrote enthusiastically about guns and derided gun control efforts in lame states. In a 3-year-old posting, she said she kept 2 full mags, I guess that's magazines, in my Glock case. No one will be dropping by my house uninvited. She also wrote about autism and medical issues. Harper's son, 26-year-old Christopher Harper Mercer, opened fire at an Umpqua Community College on Thursday. He killed himself when police actually arrived. You know, I'm beginning to think we live in a tragic country. What do you think? I don't like all this horrible, horrible news. It sure makes us seem like we are a backward country. You know what? We hear about third world countries all the time. We consider ourselves an advanced, technologically first world country. I've never heard of a second world country, but I'm wondering what makes us the first world country. Is it money? Well, we'll see. Well, you know, a new generation of delusioned Palestinians drives unrest. A new generation of angry, disillusioned Palestinians is driving the current wave of clashes with Israeli forces. Too young to remember the hardships of life during Israel's clampdown on the last major uprising, they've lost faith in statehood through negotiations, distrust their political leaders, and believe Israel only understands force. Some say they want to emulate those killed or wounded in confrontations or attacks on Israelis, like Mohammed Halabi, the 19-year-old law student from the West Bank who stabbed to death 2 Israelis in a bloody rampage in Jerusalem's Old City over the weekend before being shot dead by police. We are all impressed with what he has done, said Malik Hussein, a 19-year-old friend and fellow law student at Al-Quds University near Jerusalem. The day after the attack, university students took to the streets and clashed with Israeli soldiers. Muhammad's way is the only way to liberate Palestine. You know, despite such fervor and a rise in violence, it's not clear if conditions are ripe for a new uprising against the Israeli military occupation that began in 1967 when Israel captured the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem. Marked by Palestinian bombings and shootings, the last revolt erupted in 2000 and ebbed after Mahmoud Abbas, an opponent of violence, replaced the late Yasser Arafat as Palestinian president in 2005. Abbas now walks a thin line. Well, don't go away, because when we come back, I'm going to deal with the IRS loses. My first case, a refund deadline mistake. I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. Sends chills up and down my spine every time I think about it, but you know what? When you really think about it, do you really want to ever hear about that the IRS won? I don't think you do. Let's get right into this one. The IRS loses, a refund deadline mistake. Let me tell you, Richard Perkins owed a tax debt that the IRS sought to collect by levy. He had also overpaid his previous taxes and asked to have a resulting refund applied against his tax debt. But he had filed his last taxes return more than 3 years late, so the IRS said that he had forfeited the refund. When Perkins asked if anything could extend that 3-year deadline, an IRS agent told him, disability, but noted that Perkins hadn't been disabled when he filed that prior return when it was due. So he went to tax court. This is what the judge said. If Perkins had been disabled within 3 years after the return's due date, the extension would apply, and he had been ill during that period. So the levy was stopped and the IRS ordered to re-examine the case. And guess what? Richard Perkins got his refund. You just got to love this stuff, right? It sends chills up and down my spine. Let me give you another one. IRS commits fraud on the court in 1,300 tax shelter cases. Here's one you want to hear about. The IRS attacked a tax shelter arrangement that 1,300 taxpayers had invested in. To avoid litigating all those cases, the parties agreed to a test case with both sides following its results in the other cases. But the IRS offered the taxpayers in the test case a favorable secret settlement if they lost in lieu of pursuing an appeal. The taxpayers then lost, and the IRS applied the courtroom result to all of the other cases. What happened next? Well, word of that secret settlement leaked, and you know that it would, right? And other taxpayers protested. They went to court, and this is what the judge said. The IRS had committed fraud on the court and must apply the terms of the secret settlement to all of these cases. Shame on you, IRS. Shame on you. How dare you? And then they want to preach to us, right? Let me give you one more case here. The IRS loses. Abused its discretion in not giving relief to a spouse. The IRS tried to hold a woman liable for past due taxes owed by her husband, a lawyer who was a drug abuser. Since disbarred and imprisoned, she sought an innocent spouse relief, but the IRS denied it because she had known that they couldn't pay their taxes when signing their joint return, and she had never divorced or legally separated from her husband. She went to court. This is what the judge said. The IRS neglected to consider important factors. She thought that she was legally separated. Her lawyer husband had deceived her. Her husband had been abusive and kept her from knowing about his finances, and paying his tax would cause her serious hardship. So she deserved the relief, and she got the relief. That's the way it's supposed to work, guys. That's the way it's supposed to work. You ever want to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff? Well, that's where we're at right now when we talk about inside the IRS. Oh, yeah. Now, this is not actually tax court cases. This is a precedent that was set by the Internal Revenue Service when they agreed to different things and they tell you about how things are working. This inside information can actually help you when you're thinking in terms of arguments that you might use against the IRS. Things that'll help your side of the case. Obviously, you're never going to use anything that doesn't help your side of the case. So let's get right to it. The IRS is delaying refunds for international filers. So here's the thing. Non-residents filing Form 1040-NR, that's non-resident, can expect to wait for their refunds relating to this year's tax returns. Now, there we go. I got... There he is. We got him in here now. Anyway, these tax returns are now being processed in Dallas instead of Philadelphia, where they had been processed for years. Now, calling the IRS and asking about the status of your refund is virtually useless, since many of these tax returns have not even been posted on the computer system. What do? If the IRS does not have a record of your tax return, send it another signed copy together with a cover letter explaining that you were informed that there is no record of the first return being filed. Send the return by certified mail. Return receipt requested. Ask your accountant to mail the tax return on your behalf if you are located outside of the country. Try to get the name of the person that you can address your letter to. And the best bet, follow up every 2 weeks and try to get a manager to take interest in your case. That is where you're going to want to be with this thing. Absolutely guaranteed. Yeah. Let me leave you with one more. You ever wonder how do IRS agents determine that you have not reported all of your income? Well, a common method that the IRS uses is to simply add up all of your deposits in your bank and brokerage accounts during the year. The presumption is that all deposits represent income unless you can establish that the money came from a gift or a loan. A revenue agent will also review credit card and bank loan statements to determine if payments made during the year to reduce the balance were made from sources other than your bank accounts. So here's the trap. The agent may want to visit your home to determine if there's a new appliance or furniture and to take a look at your wardrobe. Was unreported cash used to purchase these items? Here's your safest bet. The IRS must obtain a search warrant, which never happens in a civil case. So do not give a revenue agent permission to tour your home. Ever, ever, ever. Now, do not go away. When we come back, we're going to be with our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Center. He's going to be talking about, I think he's going to talk a little bit about Big Macs and Breakfast Jacks. And I think he's going to talk about a large settlement on vaccinations. So don't go away. We'll be right back with Sean LaFave.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 77 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. You talk about a beautiful day. Well, I've got a beautiful person just waiting in the wings. Let me give him a proper introduction and get him in here.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean LaFave, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
welcome aboard. I have been waiting and waiting and waiting for you. There are so many things for us to talk about. It's unbelievable. It's sort of like it's feast or famine, right? When it comes to some of these health issues going on. Well, we're into the feast side.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, we are. It'd be nice. It'd be nice in this world if we run out of things to talk about, but at least the things that we're talking about. There's a lot.
Yeah, you know what? And I'm not sure what you want to talk about first, but we should talk about this lawsuit with this vaccination thing. I'm being vague on purpose because I want you to set it up, and I think we should have a little bit of a discussion about it because when I first saw what you sent me, it appeared to be almost a self-serving ad for this legal group. But, I changed my mind about that. It may be or it may not be, but everybody needs some help when it comes down to the kind of things that you're about to describe. So why don't I go ahead and let you have the lead, and then we can have a conversation about it.
It's funny. I actually thought the same thing when I first read it. I was like, okay, so this attorney, the group, they seem to be promoting themselves, but really, big picture, it is something that's very much needed. And like you said, if there's a need out there, somebody's got to stand up and say, hey, we're here for you guys. But what this boils down to is the U.S. Federal Vaccine Court. And, I want to back up. For those who don't know, that it's, and I know we've talked about this before, but not everybody listens to us every day, which shame on them, of course. But we have in the United States a United States Vaccine Court. And that's a special court set aside that deliberates in a very different way than our regular court system does. And it's there specifically to determine if someone was injured by any type of vaccine, all the way from the flu vaccine all the way up. Matter of fact, the flu vaccine is the number one most payout of all the vaccines for damages. But what this vaccine court does is it was implemented, I believe it was in 1984, and it was put in place to protect the pharmaceutical companies that produce the vaccines. So if I get a vaccine or my child gets a vaccine and are injured by the vaccine, then the pharmaceutical company is exempt from any prosecution at all for paying any retribution, and the payment is made by this court system, which of course is funded by our taxes. So that's something to keep in mind throughout this as well. But the federal court, vaccine court, awarded a $61 million settlement for a child who suffered adverse reactions from a DTaP, which is the diphtheria, tetanus, and acellular pertussis vaccine. Basically, it was a 2-month-old baby, and just hours after receiving the vaccine, started having seizures, abnormal breathing, irregular heartbeats. The next morning, her heart stopped, and it took 6 minutes of CPR to get her revived. And she spent the last 6 years with cognitive delays, cerebral palsy, encephalopathy, and seizure disorder. And what they're saying basically is this child, no matter how long she lives, will basically be affected by the vaccine damage, and there's no chance of recovery. And so the $61 million is rewarded basically to pay, I'm sure, pain and suffering along with her medical expenses for the rest of her life.
So let's stop there for just a minute, because in the article you sent me, they did acknowledge that these resistances or adverse allergies to these vaccines were really quite rare. However, it appeared to me that, and I might have been under a misconception, that these drug companies were totally protected, and I suppose they are financially, because as you said, it's tax money that pays these awards, but the people that are affected this way, and I mean, there's no justification, there's nothing that's going to make it good again, but at least they do have some recourse through some legal firm that actually specializes in these vaccine issues, that they can go to court and they can get some justice for the loved one that is going to be suffering the rest of their life. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly what this is set up for, is for reimbursement for medical expenses and pain and suffering.
Okay,
the unfortunate part, go ahead.
So now the taxes, and this is the part that I'm not sure I understand, the taxes, and you say that we pay these taxes, is this a tax that's assessed on the vaccination or the drug or the modality itself, and everybody pays it as part of the cost of getting these vaccines, and that it builds up, and then, but it's not really paid by the drug company, it goes into a separate, almost like a VAT tax, it goes into the government fund, where, the profits of the drug go to the drug company, but that tax part goes to a government agency where the courts would administer it. Is that kind of how it works, or is it really coming out of our tax dollars?
Yeah, it comes out of our general tax dollars. And I've looked for that answer, and there's no tax on vaccines for anything like this at all. And so any monies that come, and it's been like $3 billion since the inception of this. What are we talking? Just over 30 years ago.
Okay, but let me clarify what I'm trying to say, because I don't think I was very clear. I was thinking in terms of, when you go to the gas station and you buy a gallon of gas, there's 43 cents a gallon worth of tax there, but you see it in the price of the gas. But
there's no tax like that on vaccines.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm asking. Okay, that's what I'm asking. Okay.
Yeah, no, this comes out of our general taxes. This is the general taxes that we pay when we file our income tax.
Okay. So it looked to me like the firm that represented this, was it a 6-year-old? I think it was
she was 2 months old. She's 6 years old now.
Oh, I see.
She was 2 months old when she first had the reaction.
Yeah. So this firm this is all they do is represent people who have had catastrophic effects from vaccinations. Is that correct?
That's what it seems like. I didn't research the firm itself, but they refer to themselves as a vaccine injury law firm. So I assume that is, if not only what they do, it's primarily what they do. Yes.
Yeah. So,
and I'm sure there's a lot of money involved in it as well.
Well, yeah, because the point that I was going to make is that they're an attorney firm and they had to go to court, and to go to court, out of that $61 million, probably 30 million of it went to, or probably at least 25 million of it went to this legal firm, right?
Actually, no. There's all of the legal fees for the attorneys are paid above and separately from the award. So like, even let's say a person is vaccine injured, and the funny thing is, a lot of people don't even know that we have this type of court. That if you get a vaccine, and let's say even if you're, it's a mild amount of damage, it does something that takes you a month or two to recover from, you can still go to this court and get an award for it. But if you use an attorney, you are not liable for the cost of the attorney fees. Even if you lose your case, the court system still pays the attorney fees.
Ah, I see. So that 61,000 is really it's really not true. It's more like 85,000, isn't it? 85 million, I mean.
I knew what you meant. But yeah, it probably is. I can't even imagine what the attorney fees were on a case this large. They had to prove, obviously it's been 6 years, I'm sure they built quite a case. They had to prove that in fact that the child was damaged and that this created long-term adverse effects and so on. So yeah, attorney fees are astronomical, and I'm sure they have an entire team just on this one case.
Oh yeah, and generally, unless there is something different with this particular kind of a court, attorneys that go to court to win a case generally get 40% of the award. So in this case, if this is a net award of $61 million to this kid, it's going to be closer to $85 million total.
Right. Yeah, because you're talking about $25 million.
Yeah.
Award to the attorneys if the ratio stays the same, which is, yeah, you're right. So that's yeah. And I know that the $3 billion in the last 30 years since this court system has been around includes awards and attorney fees both.
Okay, so in a case like this then, and I know I'm taking you in a kind of a different direction, but in a case like this, then the drug manufacturer cannot look at that settlement as an additional cost of producing this drug, and there's no justification for raising the price of the actual vaccination itself.
Right, exactly, and I think that's the reason for this court system they don't want to have these types of financial burdens thrown back on them. The belief system is that this is for the greater good. And, no sense in having them pay for what damage. We unfortunately consider, this child to be an acceptable loss. I know that Obama was just standing up, a couple days ago about what happened in Oregon. And he said, we've just come to the point where we consider this acceptable losses, and it's not an acceptable loss. And, of course, to the general population, this 2-month-old baby, now 6 years old, who is destroyed for the rest of her life because of the reaction from a vaccine, is unfortunately considered an acceptable loss. Obviously not to the family and anyone close, to the family who knows the child, but that's the unfortunate part about the vaccine system that a lot of people don't see. Is we do have acceptable losses, and this is a very severe one.
Yeah, and unfortunately, in that article that you sent me, it is actually very specific to say exactly that it is such a small percentage compared to the good that they assume that it does.
Right, and that's when people talk to me and they say I've been called an anti-vaxxer, I've been called all kinds of things, to be honest, but I've been called an anti-vaxxer, and so I'm not really so much anti-vaccine. If someone wants to get the vaccine, I will never chastise that person or say they made a horrible decision. But I always say that if you did it blindly and without any type of information, then it really wasn't an intelligent decision. It was just a sheepish following the crowd or the herd mentality sort of decision.
Well, here's the question that we have to go to a commercial on, and that is, regardless of what the minimal risk may be, if a doctor says to you that your 2-month-old child or your 1-year-old or 2-year-old child has a 2, 3, 5% chance of being destroyed for life, what decision would you make? I want you to answer that question when we come back from this commercial break. Do not go away. We'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave and his Geared for Wellness group. You're gonna be interested in what he has to say. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live, and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses: website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own, you know what? He's my go-to guy, Sean Lefebvre at his Geared for Wellness Center. So, Sean, let's pretend that was your 2-month-old or your 1 or 2-year-old, and the doctor says to you, well, you've got a 2, 3, 5, 6% chance that your child is going to become a vegetable if you take this vaccination. What's your decision going to be?
Well, even if it's a lot less than that, which actually it is, but my answer obviously is there's no way I would take that chance. To me, it's just not a risk worth taking. And so, and in fact, it's even in my own son, you can the results are there. I've not he's never been vaccinated, and so and if he wants to make that decision as an adult, I think it's totally up to him. But I am, of course we get the presidential campaign going on right now, and I'm actually a big supporter of Donald Trump for a lot of reasons, and one of the reasons is because his stance on vaccines is my favorite of all of the candidates out there. His stance is pretty simple. He says, I'm pro-vaccine because I think we need them. Not that I necessarily agree with that statement 100%, but because we need them, but we need to stop giving so many vaccines to these kids when they're so little. He said, wait a little bit longer, stretch it out over a longer period of time. Don't give them. Yeah,
and not only don't give them, when they're so little, don't give them so many at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's I could give you a list of children who have died from vaccines. Some of them from a single dose, but most of them you'll see they were given 5, 6, 7, 8. The most recent one I saw, and in my opinion, this doctor should be charged with murder. This young child, very young child, was given 13 doses of vaccinations at one time. The mom intentionally waited because she wanted her child's immune system to strengthen a little bit. And so when she went in, the nurse, without consulting with the mom, says, oh, this poor child is behind on her vaccinations, and literally gave her all of the back vaccinations they literally put this cocktail. They would, suck one with the needle, and they injected all of these vaccines into this child, 13 of them, and the child died. And that was just recent. That was just a few weeks ago. And so, it happens on a fairly regular basis that, the children die, children get brain damage, children get, fevers are very common, and the court system isn't going to pay out for something as simple as a fever. But to me, something like this, to have this child, is permanently, I'm assuming a non-functioning adult, or a non-functioning human being to someday hopefully be an adult. But I don't even know, hopefully at that point, like, what quality of life do you have? So yeah, for me, there's a chance. Imagine, look at it this way. If they said to you, Robert, here's your plane ticket, and just want to kind of give you a warning that about 1/2 of 1% of all airplanes crash, and not everybody dies, but some people get burns and injuries and some lifelong injuries, but not everybody dies. But have a great flight. You'd probably think twice, even if it was less than 1%, even if it was 1/10 of 1% of the airplanes out there that are crashing on us. And so when the question is if this could possibly happen to your child, what we just have been talking about, would you take that risk? And of course, for me, the answer is absolutely no.
Yeah, and I think it's easier to take a risk for yourself than it is to take a risk for another human being.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I guarantee you, in every single case, whether it was a child who the parents say my child came down with autism because of this vaccine, or my child was, had permanent brain damage or permanent paralysis, or even temporary paralysis, or it's temporary damage that maybe lasted. I personally was vaccine injured, and it took me about 4 months. I had breathing issues that lasted for over 4 months.
Oh my goodness!
And of course, even if obviously death is about as bad as it gets. There's not a single parent out there that's going to go, well, this is an acceptable loss. When it's your child, it certainly is not a loss that you're willing to accept.
Yeah, no, I need to interrupt you for just a second. I have to make an announcement. The folks at 405 Media Radio are going to be leaving us in just a short moment or two, and I want to remind them that if they want to hear the entire show, they can go to my website at robertcardozalive.com and just click on the little icon that says Listen Live. It'll take you either to an archive or to the live show, or go to Spreaker.com and search Robert Cardoza Live, and everything is right there. Or better yet, just get my app. You can get it either for the Android and Windows by going to GooglePlay.com, or you can get it for Apple by going to the Apple Store. In both cases, search Robert Cardoza Live, and you can get that, and that app is absolutely free, so you can get our archives, listen to the rest of the show. You truly don't want to miss any part of the stuff that our own Sean Lefebvre talks about. He gives you very current and very interesting and very important information, so you don't want to miss that. Sean, I'm sorry. Go ahead with your thought.
No, that's fine. I think I kind of wrapped that one up. Again, it comes down to risk, and there's a lot. There's a lot of risks in every aspect of healthcare. Whether you go the natural route, the natural route doesn't have the risks of herbs and vitamins. No one ever died from any herb or vitamin supplements that I've ever heard of. But everything comes with its risks. And the thing to keep in mind is the other article that you and I discussed earlier today was the settlements in China.
Yeah,
where they were was a $488 billion fine for GlaxoSmithKline, and basically it was all about bribery. They were bribing. They were paying these doctors to prescribe their medications, and the amount they found was the bribery was exactly that much, $488.8 million. I'm sorry, I said $1 million. So we're talking $500 million almost.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that kind of tells you a little bit about the ethics of big business, whether it be in the United States or anywhere else around the country, doesn't it?
Right, and that's exactly it. That's one company in one country. Obviously, I imagine if China is saying, "Hey, if China says you're corrupt," imagine what it's like in the United States. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for us to sit back and go, "Oh, we're the United States and we've got these great sense of morals," it's like bullshit. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to hear all those bad.
You have got to tone that stuff down. Do you know that somebody's going to come in here with a machine gun and just fire at us one of these days, or I'm going to find myself talking into dead air?
If they do, it's probably going to be someone who's on antidepressants. Because that's, what a great segue. All of these shootings, like the one in Oregon recently, this guy, his online name was Lithium Love or something like that, which lithium is an antidepressant. And what they're discovering is that all of these shootings, all of these shooters are on antidepressants, anti-anxiety meds, and there's black label warnings on these that say side effects include homicidal and suicidal thoughts. And so we've got the thing that to go back to the $61 million settlement for the vaccine injury is it's not about this one child, which at this point it really is in that case, but it's really about being informed, understanding when you're putting something in your body that is a chemical that is not intended to go in your body, and with the vaccines, it's not the virus that does the damage. It's the heavy metals. There's formaldehyde. There's fetal tissue in there. There's monosodium glutamate. There's peanut oil. There's all kinds of different things in there. Some that we would assume to be inert, and some that we would obviously go, there's no way that injecting your child with aluminum and formaldehyde and mercury certainly can't be a good thing to do. And so understanding that those things are there and those risks are involved, and that's with any type of medication that you take. People die it's 100,000, over 100,000 people. And these are CDC numbers. These aren't, my numbers. Over 100,000 people die every year in the United States from medications. And we've got, these pharmaceutical companies. One, when it comes to vaccines, they're completely protected from any type of damages whenever they do, physical harm to a child. And then we've got, like GlaxoSmithKline, in China, that, are being sued for almost $500 million for bribery just in one country. So to understand, okay, your doctor may tell you, hey, this is really great. This is good stuff. It does wonderful things. It's good for you. And it's going to benefit you, but also understand that there is a darker side to all of this as well. And so be informed that whenever there's money to be made, we should always err on the side of caution.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. So you know what? You got 3 minutes. You want to talk about Egg McMuffins?
Yeah, that was like a great. What is it? Back in the 19th century, you sent me that article about the Egg McMuffins and breakfast sandwich. Which I got to tell you, breakfast sandwiches and breakfast burritos really awesome. But I love breakfast sandwiches, whether it's on a sourdough or it's on an English muffin or it's on a bagel. But yeah, you sent me that article, and I thought that was so fascinating. that we think of the McMuffin, our Egg McMuffin from McDonald's. We think, oh, what a unique, but that was actually started back in the 19th century.
Yeah.
In England.
Isn't that amazing? And here's the thing. I like anything breakfast. I mean, I can eat breakfast 24 hours a day. I love breakfast. Yep.
Yeah, and McDonald's, of course, right now they're going to make their breakfast available 24 hours a day, or won't be open 20, but all day long. As long as they're open, they're going to have breakfast. And the reason they're doing that, one, of course, everyone loves breakfast. Like you said, I can eat a breakfast burrito for dinner with no problem. In fact, there are days when we'll just go, what do you want for dinner? I want breakfast. Okay, and we'll make breakfast for dinner.
Yeah.
But McDonald's, their quality, people are starting to understand, this stuff is making people sick. And so McDonald's, for the first time since they started, I think it was back in the 50s, for the first time ever, they're showing profit losses. And
I got to, and it's interesting because this is a business decision, and they started to lose more money when they refused to serve breakfast after 10 o'clock. I think it was, or 10:30 in the morning. Now they're having limited breakfast, and they have a different breakfast available on the East Coast, or the Southeast actually, as opposed to what they have in the rest of the nation. It's interesting, and only about 90% of the McDonald's are doing this, but they're doing it for survival because it's that breakfast that is actually shoring up the revenue intake for McDonald's.
Right. Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
It's interesting. This is the first year in history that McDonald's is going to close. They're going to have a negative 125 stores.
Yeah.
Which is nothing compared to what they have, but
Yeah, no, it is. It's a drop in the bucket for them, but it is a sign that, hey, you've got to change. You've got to do something because what you're doing is not working because, people are starting to realize that you can't eat garbage and expect to feel good.
That's right.
Feels good at the moment. It tastes great. And it's just, it's a good business model as long as everyone stays blind to the fact that this stuff is making you sick.
Yeah. Well, hey, my friend, we are out of time. I want you to give us a teaser for Thursday, will you?
Thursday. You know what? I want to talk about. There was just a study done on the 17 largest, I guess, most prosperous nations, and the United States is dead last in healthcare in almost every category, and that's something I'd love to talk about. And we can go on with other things as well, but we'll talk about that. You'll see how bad. If 17 sounds bad, it's worse than it is, and we're going to talk about how bad it is.
Okay, so listen, my friend, this was a great show. I thank you very much. I look forward to Thursday's show. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about because I just love having a dialogue with you. You have a wonderful evening, and we will talk to you on Thursday.
All Thank you, Robert. Have a great time.
All right. Now, don't go away. My special guest coming up is Edric Guys. Edric is a partner at Vireo Energy Financial Services and National Energy Solution. He's going to be talking about Citizens Climate Lobby. He's probably going to be talking about the carbon footprint, and we're going to hear all about it. Don't go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages with my special guest, Edric Guys.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:07 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 78 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, my special guest is waiting in the wings. I want to play a little intro first, and then I'm going to introduce him properly. So hang in there. Let's get him in here the right way. Guys, help me welcome aboard Eric Guys. He's a partner at Vireo Energy Financial Services and National Energy Solutions. They're located in the greater Los Angeles area. They deal with renewables and environment. I'm certain he's going to talk about the carbon footprint, and especially he's going to talk about Citizens Climate Lobby. He graduated from the University of Michigan. Help me welcome aboard Eric Guys. Hey, Eric, you out there?
Yes. Hi, Robert.
Hey, it's good to have you with us. I'm excited to actually be involved in the entire interview today. I kind of missed most of it because of technical issues that we had last time, and so I'm really excited to get involved and hear what you have to say and maybe ask a few dumb questions if you don't mind.
Have at it. I'm happy to help out.
Okay. So basically, what you're really involved in is not just the carbon footprint for the United States, but for the whole world. Is that not right?
Well, Citizens Climate Lobby does focus on the Congress here in the United States, but we do have chapters in Europe and the Far East, India, Australia, Japan. There's other countries that have citizen activist groups that want to put a price on carbon as part of a global solution. And the short story and part of your answer is we coordinate with a number of other NGOs or non-governmental organizations around the world who are advocating for a price on carbon that would be part of the negotiation that's coming up at the beginning of this December in Paris. That you may have heard about.
So, basically then what you're saying is it really doesn't matter whether it's from the United States, North America, South America, Australia. Anybody that does any good and has a positive effect on reducing the carbon footprint helps everybody in the world. In this particular case, you've got chapters all over the world, and if they all coordinate together, can have a really meaningful effect on reducing that carbon footprint that hurts our environment. Is that not right?
It's right for different reasons at different levels. And so each of us can lower our carbon footprint with our daily decisions, the type of vehicles we drive, the type of products we buy. But it's generally, you have to be almost a wonk to figure out, the carbon content of things that you buy at grocery stores or hardware stores and the like. But 2/3 of our carbon footprint is not related to the fuel we buy or the utility energy that we buy for our homes and businesses. It's related to the products that we buy. So,
you're talking like aerosols? You're talking about like aerosols, things like that?
Well, aerosols have carbon content, but so do a lot of the products that are made. The manufacture of products themselves, including automobiles, consumes an enormous amount of energy. And that energy is often carbon-based. So the embedded in the production of any product is, on some level, a carbon footprint. But more broadly, the carbon footprint that CCL focuses on is that which is controlled by the U.S. Congress, which is the footprint of our nation. Mm-hmm. And so all of our individual actions are very meaningful, and we don't want to diminish that at all. The president's Clean Power Plan, which is highly controversial, conservatives in our country are fighting it tooth and nail. They're even telling states not to comply with it. But that, even if it was broadly accepted, would not have enough carbon reduction to solve the climate change problem, to reduce carbon pollution enough. The only way that we get there, and this is, agreed on by almost 90% of economists around the world, is to put a price on carbon. And that has to be done by nations.
Now, is that done? That price on carbon, is that a price that is actually assessed to the end user or the manufacturer or both?
It's the carbon extraction company itself.
Oh.
So we as consumers and we as businesses would not directly see that tax. Coal companies, oil companies, and natural gas companies would see that tax, as it would be imposed at the point at which the carbon-based fuel is taken out of the ground. It's the easiest way to impose this kind of a fee on carbon-based fuels and have them reflect their actual costs to our society, and therefore be able to use the capitalist system, our free market system, to adapt and adjust so that we stop we stop using so much of this damaging fuel.
Okay, so let me ask you this: if that's the case, and we're talking about, when you're talking about natural gas, you're talking about petroleum products, and you're talking about all of these carbon-based products, you're talking about huge companies with multi-billions of dollars of investment and dollars that they're spending on this. Is this carbon tax going to be enough to get them to retrofit and do research and development to get involved in the alternatives with regard to wind, sun, air, in ocean, that kind of stuff?
It is an evolution that will happen in ways that are not predictable. As you know, from being business-focused, markets are not that predictable. They're somewhat difficult to guess what will happen in the future. But I would say this. Most people don't understand that the large oil companies are advocating for a price on carbon. There were 6 of the biggest ones in the world that came out with a joint statement about half a year ago. Mm-hmm. Just yesterday, the major food producers in the United States, companies like General Mills and other giants, purchased newspaper ads and met with members of Congress asking them to act on a solution for climate change. So the major corporations understand that global warming, climate change, will damage their businesses. They've known this for, in some cases, decades. And what's little known as part of the public narrative about all this is that these companies have explicitly endorsed not only action on climate, but in many cases, specifically putting a price on carbon, which is predictable, so that they can then plan for their future investments around that and adjust their own strategies. We see that already happening in some ways when you see energy companies diversifying their holdings, moving into renewable energies, investing in biofuels, and the substantial biotech industry that's now working to mature those types of fuel resources for us all.
Wow. Well, one of the things that I was reading about the Citizens Climate Lobby, and I don't think we said it at the beginning, and we should actually touch on it now, and that is that Citizens Climate Lobby is a nonprofit, nonpartisan, grassroots advocacy organization that supports the power of the people rather than asking people to give power to headquarters. And, that says an awful lot when you think about the power of the people. Unfortunately, I don't have an awful lot of confidence in I do have confidence in the power of the people. I just don't have an awful lot of confidence in the people. They keep electing the same mental midgets that we keep sending into leadership roles and places that are supposed to be protecting the citizens, and we're not getting anywhere. So what is the answer to that?
Yeah, it's a very challenging quandary, Robert, and I don't mean to diminish that. Citizens Climate Lobby, the phrase we like to use is building political will for a livable world. And the strategy that we use in approaching that challenge is all about empowering citizens to become better advocates and, by sheer numbers, more effective advocates with our members of Congress than we have seen in our near-term history. And that means showing respect and engaging those who may disagree with you. And over time, we've seen a substantial movement amongst conservatives toward the understanding, the study of, and even support of carbon pricing, and certainly understanding the severity of climate change and its threat to the U.S. economy, to our U.S. military. Our military is highly sensitized on this subject and is planning accordingly. It's one of the top threats that they are anticipating worldwide. And so all of this means being active at the district level with each of our members of Congress, or the state level with our senators. And we have evidence of that success that's being accumulated, albeit too slowly by many measures, Robert, to your point. but progress nonetheless. And one of the most obvious examples is a resolution that was submitted by 11 Republicans in the U.S. House of Representatives 2 weeks ago. And this resolution acknowledges human-caused climate change, advocates for the development of solutions that protect the economy and American households and our environment, and calls for Congress to act on it as quickly as possible. So this is a sea change that has occurred just recently. And again, to my point earlier about how little known the oil industry support for carbon pricing, this is not really part of the public narrative. So it's good for the American people to understand that while conservatives are stereotyped as being obstacles, and there certainly is evidence of that historically, there's clear signals that situation is evolving positively, so that we hope to have not just real progress for the Paris talks coming up in December, but a substantial bipartisan solution moving through our Congress in the near term.
Okay, well, we need to take a commercial break, Edric, and so I'd like to leave you with this, and that is that, you know what, if we're right about the effects of the carbon footprint on the environment and on global warming, then we're going to help literally 7 billion people around this planet. If we're wrong, we're not going to hurt anybody. Let's talk about that, and let's talk about how you can help Edric Guys in the Citizens Climate Lobby right after these commercial words. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. My special guest, Eric Guys, a partner at Vireo Energy Financial Services and National Energy Solutions. We're talking about the carbon footprint. We're talking about global warming, and we're talking about doing a dividend tax on carbon producers. You know, one of the things that I found in the information when I was looking up Edric today was a quote that they had made, and they said, government will respond to the will of the people provided we tell the government what we want. Politicians don't create political will, they respond to it. So, Edric, tell me, how are we going to get people to get the government to respond to our will?
Well, it is a process, and it's one that doesn't come naturally to us, or to many of us, I should say. And so, in order to be effective as advocates for the climate, in this case, we have to learn how to do so. And so CCL, Citizens Climate Lobby, is very purposeful in supporting and educating its members on how to do so. And what that involves is finding a path that you're comfortable with, and maybe pushing yourself a little bit, getting into things that aren't maybe natural or comfortable for you. Like, for instance, for those of us who are decent public speaking, going and talking with Rotary clubs or chambers of commerce, or religious groups, which is occurring now by the thousands all over the country. And another pathway to influencing our elected officials is through the media. They pay close attention to the editorial positions of newspapers in their own communities. And so we very purposefully and methodically track the articles that come out from these newspapers and other media, radio and television, regarding climate change, and respond to them with, for instance, letters to the editor and op-ed pieces that we submit. So we have thousands of letters that are letters to the editor that are printed. That's in the 10,000s, and then thousands of op-eds that are printed. There's also directly engaging with the elected officials and their staff, very methodically and respectfully, creating relationships with those parties and providing them with feedback from the community in the form of endorsements, in the form of meetings with climate experts, supported by constituents, folks that are voters in their community. All of these things position Citizens Climate Lobby and the volunteers that are part of it as the most organized advocates for the climate. As many staff and elected officials in Congress would tell you, we have more of this kind of direct engagement than any other environmental group, and in part because we're singular in focus. We are all about pricing carbon so that we can avoid the worst effects of climate change on our communities and families and our nation.
So are you lobbying Congress at this time? And if so, can you give us some indication as to what kind of a reception you're getting? And then after that, I need you to give out a website or contact information, how people can get a hold of you so they can help and support you.
Sure. Well, how Congress is receiving us. Well, we have annually we set meetings. We have meetings in June in Washington, D.C., and then for the balance of the year, we meet with every member of Congress. We have active groups in all but 5 congressional districts. So there's over 500 Citizens Climate Lobby groups dealing directly with each elected member of Congress. And each year, in 2014, the dialogue was one that represented more conflict as to whether global warming was real or not. But our past round of meetings this year, in June of this year, only 7% of members of Congress had any question that suggested some skepticism about climate change. So with near unanimity, they wanted to talk about solutions. What kind of solutions can take advantage of American ingenuity, can use free market forces, can avoid overregulation, and some of these alternatives that are anathema to that are really negative when it comes to the business community, and equally important to conservatives who are positioned to stop anything that happens on climate change. So it's all about finding a solution that works for both sides of the aisle.
So you must be hitting some resistance from conservatives as well as some Democrats, I suppose, or liberals, when it comes to the carbon fee and dividends, because you're talking about if they're supporting business, then business is going to resist this kind of a fee, and it's going to have to be something that is demanded. And how are we going to get the legislators to do that, short of just replacing the 535 guys we got in Washington, D.C. with fresh people that haven't been bought and paid for already?
Yeah, we are. CCL is based in reality, Robert, and not to suggest that you are not, but I think you and most people who are listening will understand that we're not going to be able to vote out all 500 plus members of Congress.
Oh no, I was being
strategy.
I was being facetious.
I understand,
yeah.
And but the real strategy is to engage with them respectfully, provide them with evidence, show community support, and there is a precedent for evolving the policy position and the related laws that come out of our Congress. We've done it in the past when it comes to worldwide hunger, which is a model that Citizens Climate Lobby is based on, is the history of success in engaging with Congress and helping our brothers and sisters around the world who do not have enough food. So we're using that model to affect change. And as I mentioned earlier, you have a confluence of major industries in our country and worldwide, including the oil industry, including the banking industry, which is calling for a price on carbon. There's plenty of evidence of all of this activity, written and otherwise. And you have an environmental movement that's been chomping at the bit for years on this, and an increasing number of Republicans and conservatives. The polls are showing that Republicans support climate action by a majority. And when you get into the younger members of the Republican Party, under 49, that majority gets up to 70%. So we believe that the time for the confluence of these forces will result in substantial change and action in support of the climate. And the challenge is to make sure that we don't miss this opportunity, because time is of the essence, and we have the Paris climate talks coming up in December.
So if you've got that large support from the conservative side of the House, you must have a larger portion of support from the liberal side. Would that be accurate to say?
It would be, and there's differences of opinion about how to approach this. Mm-hmm. As your members in the business community will know that many liberals will support regulation over the use of market forces like a carbon fee, mm-hmm. And that is the last thing that Republicans want to see: a larger bureaucracy, a larger government, and more regulations. And the good news is there is a viable solution aside from regulation. While we might have the legal and bureaucratic infrastructure to impose regulations in our country, most countries around the world do not. So regulation will not work to solve the climate problem around the world. But a carbon fee will. And that's using the free market. That's using market ingenuity. It's using American entrepreneurialism to that end. And so we're enthusiastic about the point that we are in history and the milestones that we've been able to achieve so far to help us get to a solution here.
So you can apply that model worldwide as opposed to a regulation, right?
Yeah, using market forces. I mean, there already are many countries, including China, that have been pricing carbon. They have different ways of doing so. As you might imagine, each country is somewhat unique. But at the end of the day, we have a more than a starting point with nations around the world that are pricing carbon. It's an impressive list. I don't have it at the tip of my tongue, but we believe that this is the most efficient, effective way to include other nations. And that's partly supported by a border tax here. If we impose a carbon fee and dividend solution here, that any nation that tries to import goods where they do not have a similar carbon fee and dividend scheme or carbon pricing infrastructure in their nation, we will charge a tariff at the border so that American companies are protected and jobs are not unnecessarily lost.
So is there a recommended model for what this tariff is going to be?
Yes, it starts, our carbon fee and dividend solution is a simple 2-page piece of legislation, though no doubt, to your point earlier, if it were to go through Congress, it would add a few hundred pages more. It starts at $15 per ton of carbon. So that fee is more on coal and oil than it is on natural gas. Natural gas has about half as much carbon as coal does when we burn it. So that initial $15 per ton fee goes up $10 a year for 10 years. So you eventually, this is an incremental approach to having that cost, that extra cost, affect every carbon-based commodity and service in our economy. And
does that also allow for a lid on the price of actually not producing and that actually adds to the cost of goods? But what keeps the producer from adding that to the cost to their consumer?
Nothing. Actually, that's the good part of the good news here. Those price signals have to go to the consumer. And in order for the consumer to adjust their behavior and use less of the products that are carbon based,
which forces the change. Hey, listen, we've got about 45 seconds. I need you to give out a website and tell people how they can help you.
Okay. The last thing I'd say is that the dividend you get back offsets all of those extra costs for households and businesses. So how to connect with Citizens Climate Lobby is citizensclimatелobby.org is the website. You can join just by or learn more by joining an introductory conference call there. And that will tell you the history and connect you with a local chapter. You can also explore all kinds of background information to learn more detail about any particular area that we've talked about today that's of interest to you, and a lot more. You can look up CCL Laser Talks, and there's simple kind of cheat sheets on individual subjects, because there's a number of different layers, Robert, to this, as you know.
Well, that sounds fantastic, and I wish you all the luck in the world. Anybody that doesn't support climate, the need to address climate change has got their head stuck in the sand. My guest has been Edric Guys, a partner at Vireo Energy Financial Services and National Energy Solutions. You know what? So far, they have the only realistic solution that I've heard, and so you need to support these gentlemen. Hey, Eric, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. This has been just an enlightening segment for us.
Of course, Robert. Thanks for your time as well.
Thank you. Now, do not go away. When we come back, we're going to do the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teachings for your life, the Harvard Business Tip of the Day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:41 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 78 degrees here from the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, today is Tuesday, October the 6th. You know what day it is? Sure, it's somebody's birthday. Oh, yeah. So let's get right into it. The birthdays for today. The first birthday comes from Elizabeth Shue. She was born in 1963, an actress who got her 1984 movie, The Karate Kid. That's when she started out. Well, MC Lars, born in 1982, a rapper who is the self-proclaimed originator of post-punk laptop rap. And finally, William Butler, born in 1982, band member of the band Arcade Fire and the brother of the band's frontman. Well, let's talk about what happened today in history, October the 6th, 1945. In baseball, Billy Cianis and his pet billy goat are ejected from Wrigley Field during Game 4 of the 1945 World Series. If you want to learn more about it, just go see The Curse of the Billy Goat. And in 1966, LSD is declared illegal in the United States. 1966. Can you imagine? That's, it might sound a long way off from a lot of you, but it doesn't sound that long ago to me. And then finally, in 2007, Jason Lewis completes the very first human-powered circumnavigation of the globe. Isn't that something? Yeah. Well, our quote for today comes from Heinrich Heine, and he says, "There are more fools in the world than there are people." That's a little kind of interesting, right? If you think about it. Well, let's talk about the secret daily teachings for your life. Can't pass that up. This is all about a positive mental attitude. You heard me talk about it all the time. Well, today's secret is we will never run out of good things because there's more than enough to go around for everyone. Life is meant to be abundant. Think about it. Live it, breathe it, walk it, talk it. That's what it's all about. Well, the Harvard business tip of the day and the management tip today is know when your boss can help resolve a conflict. Sometimes it's better to address a conflict indirectly. For example, if you're working in a culture where group harmony is important, you may not be able to directly confront someone about an issue. And sometimes people are more willing to take feedback from others, either someone more powerful or a close confidant. In these cases, it's best to get a third party involved. Go to your boss and explain the problem. If a colleague is preventing you from running a successful meeting, your boss can step in and move the conversation along. Or if you and another team member don't agree on how to spend your shared budget, you might ask your boss to make the decision. That way, neither of you loses and you're just carrying out your manager's orders. In Western culture, this indirect approach might be frowned upon, but in other places, it's more effective for handling disagreement. Just know, it is a system that actually works. That's what you need to know. Well, time for our interesting but useless facts. Let's see what we got going on here today. Did you know the average person can live for 11 days without water, assuming a mean temperature of 60 degrees Fahrenheit? The higher it goes, the fewer days that you can live. So, I wouldn't put it to the test if I were you. Did you know a hard-boiled egg will spin? An uncooked or soft-boiled egg will not. Now, that's interesting. I don't know why it's important. Well, I guess it would be important so you don't try to crack open a raw egg thinking that it's a hard-boiled egg. I guess that would be important, wouldn't it? So just remember, a hard-boiled egg will spin, and an uncooked one or a soft-boiled egg will not. Here's one for you. The nail of our middle finger grows the fastest, and the nail of our thumb grows the slowest. Now, I don't know why that is, but that is. Maybe it must have something to do with blood flow, I would think. I don't know. Here's one. Quito, in Ecuador, South America, is said to have the most pleasant climate in the world. It is called the land of eternal spring. The temperature rarely drops below 46 degrees Fahrenheit during the night or exceed 72 degrees Fahrenheit during the day. Wow. That's a wannabe for San Diego, isn't it? Yeah, San Diego, California. Beautiful climate. Horrible traffic, I gotta tell you. Well, here's one. It is possible for a fetus in the womb to get hiccups. Well, I wonder if the pregnant lady can tell. I'll bet you she can. I would bet it. Here's one for you. Babies always have blue eyes when they're born. Melanin and exposure to ultraviolet light are needed to bring out the true color of the baby's eyes. Until then, they all have blue eyes. So you can always tell the truth. And when you tell somebody, did you know you were born with blue eyes? And they can say, no, I've got black eyes, or I've got brown eyes, or I've got hazel eyes. Nope, you were born with blue eyes. They changed colors later on. Well, the swastika was originally a symbol of peace and honor and is still used by Buddhists today. Now, that's interesting, but I'm not recommending or encouraging anybody to make an issue of this. Let's try this one on. The world news did not come about because it was the plural of new. It came from the first letters of the words north, east, west, and south. This was because information being gathered from all different directions of the planet. That's kind of interesting, I think. And let me leave you with this. The most dangerous job in the United States is that of fisherman, followed by logging, and then garbage collection. Now, having said that, do not go away. When we come back, I'm going to answer your emails. The first one's from Angelina Salcedo from Colts Neck, New Jersey, asking about posthumous income. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:52 p.m. Pacific time, currently 78 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, he's waiting in the wings, my good buddy John Matthews, whose show is going to start in about 7.5 minutes. It's the Conservative Syndicate. You want to listen to John every Monday through Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific time. You don't want to miss it. Just go to his website, theconservativesyndicate.net, and just click on Listen Live. You can hear his archive shows and listen to the live show. Don't forget, I'll be on his show tomorrow about 6 o'clock, but you don't want to miss John. He is going to give you food for thought. Hey, John, what's going on tonight?
Oh, well, we have kind of a special show tonight. We don't take too many guests on our show because we use the spots most of the time for contributors. But tonight we have a special guest, Evan Sayet, who's a conservative author and stand-up comedian. He's going to be online with us tonight. Evan wrote a book, The Kindergarten of Evil. Everything you need to know about liberals you learned in kindergarten.
Well, he's actually a terrific interview. I interviewed him when I was on the Superstation, NBC Superstation, KCAA in San Bernardino, and he's really, really a good interview. You're going to have a great segment with him today.
Yeah, he's just come back from a national tour. He was on a national tour. He's open for people like Ann Coulter and Denise D'Souza, so he's going to be with us tonight, and we're going to talk about his new, he's got a lot of new material. I went down and saw him in Long Beach a couple of weeks ago, and some of his new stuff is just hilarious. So we're going to start the first hour with him. The second hour, we're going to be talking about all the continuing paranoia here about gun control. We're going to do some in-depth conversation about gun control, numbers that are being spun out of control out here in terms of, the narrative. If we got rid of all the guns, we'd get rid of all the crime, that kind of stuff. And then we're going to be talking about the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is
that'll be
now going to be put before Congress for vote here in the next 90 days. So we're going to be talking about the non-benefits of entering into an agreement like that. So that's pretty much what we got lined up tonight.
Well, that's going to be really, really exciting, because my personal feeling is that there's more non-benefits than there are plus benefits for that Pacific Partnership. John, have a great show, and I'll talk to you in a few.
All right. Take care, folks.
All right, bye-bye. Now, let's get into our emails for today. The first email that I've got is from Angelina Salcedo from Colts Neck, New Jersey, asking about posthumous income. Now, keep in mind that this is an entertainment section of the show, and basically, I'm trying to do the best I can with what I consider to be sketchy information. We encourage you to always contact a licensed professional before you do anything. They've got one of the conditions of their license is that they have errors and omissions insurance, which means that you're going to be protected. They make a mistake, they pay the piper, not you. So anyway, Angelina says that, wait a minute, I got myself in the wrong doggone spot here. I don't know how that happened. Shoot. How did I do that? Well, you know what? I said it was going to be posthumous income, but it didn't turn out to go that route. I lost my spot here somehow. Instead of that, let's talk about the tax treatment of gold. Oh, yeah. You know what? That's not true. What the heck is going on here? I did all this stuff last time. Here we go. Adjusted home prices. Let's deal with that for price sale. Before closing on the purchase of a home, we found some defects that the seller promised to make good. Rather than delay the sale to fix them or charge the sales price, he sent me a check for $7,000 after the sale. Is this taxable to me? Well, here's the answer for you. The payment to you is an adjustment to the sales price, so it is not taxable to you, but reduces your cost basis in the home. That's its cost for the tax purposes when computing gain or loss on its future sale. Now, any amounts that you spend to improve the home by fixing the defects will increase your basis in it or cost in it. Here's an example. If you bought the home for, let's just say, $200,000, the $7,000 payment to you reduces your basis or your cost in it to $193,000. That's the 200 minus the 7. If you spend $6,500 of that $7,000 on fixing up those defects, your cost basis in it will increase to $199,500. So keep records documenting what's occurred here. You're going to find that really, really important. You don't want to miss out on all of that stuff. I want to remind you that Robert Cardoza Live comes to you every Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time, and we want you to get our apps. We have apps available for Windows and Android and Apple. Just go to your Apple Store or go to the GooglePlay.com, and either one of those, and search Robert Cardoza Live. The app is right there, and it's free. It's for you. You'll be able to listen to our show live. You'll be able to chat with us live during the show, and you'll be able to listen to all of our archives. We really, really, really encourage you to do that. Won't you? Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Roar, 1776 Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and on 405 Media Radio, Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com, where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. On my next show, my first expert contributor is going to be Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless, talking wireless news. And my second contributor, Ray Mailer, with his series, The American Grid. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again tomorrow for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Now, don't forget, I want you to be happy. I want you to be safe. I want you to make everybody's life better because you touched it. In the meantime, till tomorrow, good night, everybody.